I hope everyone enjoyed their holiday. We have a great interview with Andrew Schultz coming up. We just got back from New York City. We went to New York for a few days to see my parents, to surprise both of my parents, to do a socially distanced, truncated holiday, which is really the way I want to do them from now on. 10 minutes socially distanced. You're alive, I'm alive. Okay, cool, bye. We're out of there. I surprised my mother, who's in a mental institution, by the way. Everyone's like, she's going to be so surprised. I'm like, she's insane. It's not going to be that much of a surprise. Every day, they just go, today is another thing. And she goes, okay. She's in an institution. I'm sure the level of surprise was somewhat muted, you know? I told her, I said, I'm sorry Trump lost. She felt very bad about that. She goes, I know. And we got to do it through a plate of glass like she's a felon because of Corona. So I got it, COVID, whatever. You got to stand. I like Corona. I like calling it the old school.
Yeah, I like that.
I got to stand outside the plate glass window. And then she kept demeaning Ben. She kept going, I was like, yeah, Ben's my co-producer. She's like, oh, your secretary. I'm like, not really. He edits all my content. She's like, your secretary. I'm like, well, my best friend. She's like, your secretary. He's a secretary. I'm like, well, you know, certainly some of his duties are secretarial. I mean, there's, you know, but you took it in stride.
She's a lovely woman.
You took it in stride.
I think she thought it was funny to keep calling me a secretary. I could see her smiling.
Yeah. Well, you need to be beaten. And people realize that if someone gives you too many compliments, the things you will do, the horror you will bring upon the world would be unquantifiable.
This is true.
The nightmares that if you are not constantly made to feel bad about who you are, you are not at your best.
It's true.
It's true. It's a fact. Some people just need it. And then we went to see my father and the woman he married, those two goons. They just built a new house. They didn't build it. They bought a new house 2 blocks away from their old house because they were bored during the quarantine and because, as always, they have no money and they're perpetual victims and life is hard. So they bought a new house that's big, not as big as my house. That doesn't matter. It does. And they're living there now in a lovely, idyllic kind of town. You know, we go there, we surprise my father. You know, the first thing he says, he looks at me, he goes, you know, it's so nice here. He goes, during the summer, the kids all throw water balloons at the fire trucks on the 4th of July. He goes, it's real Americana. I'm like, oh, that's nice. Why didn't we live here when I was growing up? Why didn't you give a fuck about that? I was growing up doing cocaine at 13 years old in my best friend's house, whose mother was a prostitute, and we were doing blow. Where was your care about Americana back then? Where was Santa Claus in the fire truck back then? You didn't give a shit. Now you care that you're 70 and you have no children. Him and his chick, their kids are gone. They've all been raised and they're out of the house. Now they've decided to what a great place to raise our no children. What a great place to raise our dogs. Our dogs. And then my stepmother, who we've had issues, but I mean, we're fine, you know. I have no issue with anybody, but she likes to dig. Yeah. She digs. And many of you know this because you have family members that do this. They give a compliment, which is actually the worst thing you've ever heard. They give you a compliment and then follow it up with the meanest someone can be to you. They try to find your weaknesses, isolate them, and then attack, which is what the woman does. Yes. She started with me. She goes, oh, you got a nice big house. I said, yeah. She goes, are you all alone there? She doesn't even ask like that. She goes like this. She goes, first, she goes, so does Ben live with you? I'm like, no, Ben lives with his wife. And she goes, oh, so you're alone in the house? I'm like, yeah, I'm alone. She goes, does it get lonely there? And I'm like, no, it's fine. I like it. I live alone. A lot of people live alone. It's not a big deal, but she's just going. She's digging in. And then she goes at him. She goes, so you work with him? She goes, how did you meet? And he goes, why was a comedian in LA? She goes, oh, so you used to do comedy. She goes, so you don't really do comedy anymore. And Ben's like, no. And my dad's like, well, he works with Tim and they do this whole thing. And she goes, oh, so you don't do your own comedy anymore? Like, again, just trying to needle. Yeah. And then it starts to work on him. He starts to get like sad. Mm-hmm. He goes, I'm just a laugh track. That's all I do. And I'm like, God damn it. No, don't let her do this. Then she starts talking about her own daughter. She goes, my daughter lives in a small apartment and doesn't have any friends. She goes, the law firm's keeping her very busy, but she doesn't have any friends because she hasn't lived in Long Island in a decade. And the only joy in her life is when me and your father take her out for dinner. I'm like, well, I'm sure that's not true. I'm sure that's completely untrue. And if she's having such a hard time of it in life, why are you telling me this? God, keep it in. But she likes that. She likes to spread horror. She does.
Yes.
I mean, that's just what it is. And poor little Ben was like, I'm like, Ben runs our company. Ben does everything. And Ben was just like, I'm just a laugh track. I'm just a laugh track. That's all I do. And I'm just like, work. You could tell she doesn't work on me. I don't care. I go, yeah, I like being alone. And then we start telling her about Patreon and all the money that we make and everything. Just because I would never do that. But the way I only behaved in that manner because it angered her. Yeah. It angers them when I talk about money. That angers them, right? But we were in and out of there, 10 minutes?
Yeah, 10 minutes.
Both of us thoroughly insulted. And this is what you can do instead of doing the whole holiday party, because holidays are fun if you have little kids and you give them Batman and goes, Daddy, I love you. That's not it for a lot of us. For a lot of us, it's going to a family, sitting around a room with a bunch of people with drinking problems and divorces, multiple bankruptcies. People don't even know who each other are anymore. You're like, who are you again? You're dating who? Your Uncle fucking Rick's girlfriend? You've been seeing each other how long? Like, no one knows each other. It's like, it's also, I'm a divorced family, so I don't even know the uncle whose girlfriend this is. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm Sharon. I date Steve. Who's Steve? What are we all doing here? It's a waste of our time. Everybody's like, we're all like somehow, this is this odd configuration of human beings in a divorced family where people have several marriages and different children. Have you ever been at these holiday parties where like the kids come in like after they were with their other family? This is true. It's like the saddest thing. It's like, and now the kids are back from dad's, and the kids run in all manic, and they have to start, like, they fling their jackets off, and then they grab their presents, and then they're like, I'm enjoying my second Christmas with this other family I really don't know. It's so weird. And then they introduce the kids to you, and you're like, hey, whatever their names are, Hey, Ralph. No one's named Ralph, but you know what I mean. There's too many of their real names for me to use, even though I do talk about, I don't know why I'm shielding the children, but I feel like it just makes sense. But then you look at them and they're like, I love like the girls who are kind of cunty, like girls in their like early teens or whatever. They're like, this is Tim, this is Timmy's son. And they just go like this, they go, and I'm like, yeah, Merry Christmas. I don't know why I'm here. Merry Christmas. I hate this. It's such the Christmases have just gotten tragic. And then people you barely know hand you garbage gifts. They hand you shit gifts. My stepmother's father once gave me a hard drive. I'm like, what is this? The Zapruder film? It was fucking, he goes, it just has all these facts. He goes, you're a comedian. You should know a bunch of facts. And it was just endless pages of facts about everything you could think about.
Really?
Yeah. Jesus. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? What is this? But you don't know these people, and they shouldn't even be giving you gifts, and yet they are. Yeah. You just fall out of families. You fall out. Like I said to Ben, like Ben is my family because like my mom's nuts. And my dad, I love him, but he's had a lobotomy. I mean, he's been McMurphy. He's talking about his dogs. And then his wife, Maleficent, is trying to ruin our lives here. She's trying to just destroy any semblance of self-respect me and this kid have. Yeah. And then I choose that or my lunatic mother, in a Stop the Steal hat with Tina 40. So, and I don't know, and my cousins, listen to this. My cousin, okay, the ones that aren't in jail currently, texts me and goes, hey, I don't ask for much. By the way, good. I don't ask for anything. Mm-hmm. So when you go, I don't ask for much, I go, good. Please don't change that. Please have that be the only text. Hey, I don't ask for much. Oh, noted. Merry Christmas. But then he goes like this. I'm going to read the text.
Okay.
It's out of his goddamn mind, these people. And I love everyone and respect them. But I have to let everyone know. Listen to this.
Yeah.
Listen, throwing this out there, I don't ask for much. I don't have a Twitter, and Budweiser is doing this thing. If you send them a pic of your dog, they will put it on their beer can. Can you send this picture to Budweiser and send the hashtag Pupweiser? Hashtag Pup what? Aren't you in recovery? Why do you want a dog on a can of Budweiser? What's the next thing you want me to do? Get a picture of your dog on a syringe? You want an OxyContin with a picture of your cat? Get to work, folks. I've had enough. Then he goes, I'll save the trouble if you answer. I'll just go fuck myself. Correct. Love the little guy, but enough. No, I'm not putting your dog on a can of Budweiser. Many people in our family have wet brain because of that product. Okay? There's people that can't stand up straight without getting vertigo. Yeah, I don't think we should put your puppy on a beer bottle. Enough with the substances, for Christ. Fucking Irish slobs, one and all.